Hey friends, what's up? Ash here. Welcome back to Extra Gents Scents. It's time to take a look at the newest Parfums de Marly fragrance, Haltane. Is that how you pronounce this? Haltane. Haltane. So this was a Harrods exclusive, but it is a Harrods exclusive no longer. I bought mine from fragrancebuy.ca, ran me just over 250 bucks US, but I think they're sold out now. But maybe they'll get it back soon. If not, there are a number of places in the US that you can pick this up now. And you could also always order it from Harrods, where it costs a little bit less as far as the fragrance itself, but then if you're in the US, you have to pay more for shipping. You win some, you lose some. In today's video, like always, I'm gonna show you guys the presentation. I'll break the fragrance down for you a little bit, let you know how it smells, and let you know whether or not you should put this one on your PDM short list of fragrances to check out. So let's jump into it. So at retail, this one goes for $395 US. So it ain't cheap. They do have it at luckyscent.com. If you wanted to buy it from there, you can use the code GENTS10 to save yourself 10% off the website. Or, if you want to buy anything from there, you could use the code GENTS10 to save yourself 10% off. And while we're doing codes, GENTS10, twistedlily.com, save yourself 10% off that website. Or Joma Shop, GENTS8, save yourself $8 off any order over 110. Let's check out the presentation, shall we? Here you got the box. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house, and the size right there on the front. Little Parfums de Marly logo up top. There's nothing on the sides. On the back, you have a little information on the house and the concentration, eau de parfum. And on the bottom, you have your batch code and your barcode. Batch code here is 2071471. Then the box opens like so, and the fragrance sits right inside here. It's a nice little velvety feel to it. And here we have the bottle done up in Harrods colors. So you have that nice green and gold going on. Got the name of the house, name of the fragrance on the front there. Nothing on the back. On the bottom, you have a sticker with your batch code, and the cap does click into place. Gonna go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you guys here. The atomizers on PDMs are always really good, but here we go. I told you it was really good. All right, so how does the fragrance smell? Is it worth 400 bones? Or if you're like me and you can find it for 250, is it worth 250? When you first spray this one on, you know right away that it's gonna be one of those fragrances that lasts and lingers for a really long time, and it does. Not to get into performance right away, but I guess I already opened that can of worms, so I will. I sprayed this on in the late afternoon, and the next morning when I woke up, it was still there. When I say it was still there, I don't mean it was a skin scent to the point that you have to like inject your nose into your arm to be able to smell anything. I mean, within a reasonable distance, you could still pick it up pretty easily. So longevity-wise, this stuff lasts approximately forever. And the projection's really good too. Not the strongest fragrance that I have as far as projection goes, but still strong enough that I would consider it beast mode. We need to get like a little beast mode ribbon, and then when a fragrance is awarded the beast mode ribbon, you just stick it on there, certified beast mode. So yeah, at least in the performance aspect, you're definitely getting what you pay for here. You would expect it to last a long time. You would expect it to project heavily. It does both of those. And since we're talking about performance, we're doing this like backwards. Since we're talking about performance, it's more of a fall and wintertime scent. With that kind of projection and longevity, summertime is a no-go. It leans a little more toward nighttime use as well. So how does it actually smell? We know it lasts a long time. We know it's good for fall. We know it's good for winter. What about how it smells, you dingus? Thank you for asking. Let's get to that. When you first spray this on, you get hit with a wallop of spice, warm spices. Is there a little bit of citrus in there? Sure, maybe, kind of lurking behind that spice. Is there a little hint of fresh aromatics in the opening? A little bit, a slight green tinge way on the outside of the scent. Yeah, you pick all those things up initially, but what you're really gonna key in on is that spice, that warmth, and this woodiness that comes out. It's sweet, it's dark. At times, it's like a hint of wood varnish underneath it all. It has this like hit of sharp spice that kind of cuts through everything at times. So you'll be smelling it and then suddenly get blasted by it, and then it dissipates and hides again. You got all this going on, right? And at the same time, you realize this smells a bit similar to something I've smelled before. And yeah, it absolutely does. It smells a bit similar to Oud for Greatness from Initio. So it's almost like, this is Initio's version of this fragrance, and this is Parfums de Marly's version of this fragrance. They're not the same, but if you told me that these were built off of the same structure, I would say, yeah, that makes sense. So this one is sweet. It's a little bit of that sharp sweetness. You know, it's not as deep and heavy and resinous. It's more like this high tinged sweetness. Praline, I guess, is the official note that they're putting out there for it. But when you smell it, you can almost pick out like the different parts, the different layers of the fragrance, right? So the sweetness is mainly concentrated up here at the top. Then you've got these warm spices in the middle, and then all these woods underneath it. That's kind of how it comes across. So it is definitely sweet, but not as sweet as Initio for Greatness. And I would say it's definitely, to me anyway, much woodier than Oud for Greatness, even though Oud for Greatness has oud in the name. As it dries down, the woodiness in the fragrance almost takes on like a vintage, old wooden piece of furniture kind of scent profile, or maybe even like an old wooden room or something. And that is obviously an imaginary note that I'm coming up with, but that's to an extent what it made me visualize when I was smelling it. Almost that feeling of catching a whiff of this very old wooden structure or like I said, piece of furniture. And it has almost a spiciness to the wood, right? And this old nature to it, almost like faint smoke wafting out from the wood because of its age. My wife actually smelled it and she said, yeah, I get exactly what you're smelling there, what you're saying. But to me, it's almost like thinking back in time to my grandma's like old velvet couch and then sitting down on that velvet couch and just having this almost little puff of ancient fumes coming out from the velvet couch, like years and years of existence kind of creeping through that couch as she sits down and picking up pieces of that in the air, smelling it along with the furniture itself. So all this is just to say, I guess in some way, shape or form, you might be able to pick up a little bit of like an old aged woodiness as it dries, the way it comes across. So while I would say that there's that similarity between this and Oud for Greatness, a similarity that I pick up on pretty much right away in the way that they're structured, they do change as they dry down a decent amount. So this concentrates more to me with that woodiness and that bit of praline, that sweetness over top, just trying to provide a little bit of balance to that old wood and very slightly losing out as it dries down. Whereas Oud for Greatness is a little bit sweeter to me, more of a medicinal fragrance between the two. And I think that really the biggest similarity is the way that woodiness, especially initially, comes across with the saffron. Now, I do need to tell you that because this does have some similarities to Oud for Greatness, if you wanted to, you could get like Afnan Supremacy in Oud or Latafa Oud for Glory, which are clones of Oud for Greatness. And in a really weird roundabout kind of way, you would have a cheaper alternative to the Parfums de Marly. But again, that is kind of a roundabout way to do it because Oud for Greatness doesn't smell one-to-one with the Parfums de Marly. So if you're getting a clone of a fragrance that's kind of close to this one, then it's like you're starting to get 6 layers of separation from Kevin Bacon or whatever. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that if you wanted something sort of in the same vein, same family, same style to an extent, and you didn't have as much money to spend, you could get one of those. So all that said, how do I feel about the fragrance? You know, Cologne I didn't like at all, but then other fragrances like Carlisle or Leighton or Harrod I like a lot. So the fragrance itself I think smells great on a personal level. I think it smells awesome. But that's also because I'm kind of weird and I like that really old wooden smell that I'm like getting in my brain when I smell this. If you're going into this one, you've never smelled it, and you're blind buying it, and you're expecting it to be the next Leighton or the next Sedley or Percival or something like that, just as far as extreme mass appeal, compliment factor, all that stuff goes, you're probably gonna be let down. This is not necessarily the type of fragrance DNA that is an easy wear, that's an easygoing compliment pulling kind of scent. It's a little bit more out there as compared to some of their more mainstream offerings, is what I'm trying to say. And it's pricey. So if you drop $400 on it and you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be, you know, a huge compliment puller, bro, I'm gonna get so many compliments, bro, you probably are gonna be let down. If you really like this style of fragrance, if you smell this or one of the other clones, you know to an extent what you're in for, just with twists as it dries down especially. Between these two though, if I were only gonna have one, keep one, the one that I would personally want to wear is this. And it's really not close. Even though the DNA is maybe a little close between the two, I think that for my personal taste, this one is better. And I think between the two, this one is more masculine, for whatever that's worth. So those are my opinions. 250 bucks. I mean, it wasn't cheap, but that's $150 less than what retail is. So I guess I'm okay with it. It's like we're coming to terms here. I dropped 250, but that's $150 savings. Hey, I really like it a lot. I'm trying to think of maybe where it would fit in like the Parfums de Marly hierarchy for me. Below Leighton, below Carlisle, below Harrod, but maybe right up about there. Yeah, top 5. And the presentation looks pretty slick too. Those Harrod's colors, they always look pretty nice. So there we go, the new PDM. For me, I like it, but I do understand that it's not going to appeal to as many people as like their really heavy hitters, right? So that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for hanging with me here till the end. Stay safe out there. See you again another day with another fragrance video. See you guys later.